This is not a story about a hero, not about saving the world, not about defeating evil. This is a story about a human being who one day woke up and realized that everything around doesn't give answers. It only asks questions. And those questions aren't loud, not philosophical, they're quiet, personal, almost invisible. Who am I? Why do I feel? Why doesn't the pain go away? Why am I afraid to be myself? Why do I pretend to be strong when inside there's emptiness? And why do I stay silent when I want to scream? This is a story of someone who walks not forward, but inward, who meets not enemies, but his own fears, not monsters, but his own mistakes, not darkness, but his own truth. He doesn't search for truth, he becomes it. He doesn't conquer, he accepts. He doesn't save the world, he saves himself. And that is the essence. Because each of us is a seeker, not of knowledge, not of glory, but of meaning. And meaning doesn't come from outside. It's born when you stop running, when you stay, when you look into yourself and don't turn away. When you admit, yes, I'm afraid, yes, I don't know, yes, I've failed, but I'm alive, and that means I can walk, not toward what's right, but toward what's honest. And if you've reached the end of this story, if you hear these words, then you've already begun. You are already a seeker. You are already on the path. And you are not alone, because Taressa is not a planet. It's not a fictional world. It is the inner space of everyone who has ever felt trapped in someone else's expectations. Everyone who has ever asked, what if I don't have to be perfect? What if I can be real? What if I'm not a mistake, but a possibility? And if you dare to keep walking, you'll see the planet will speak. Not in words, in light. And that light is not the answer. It is you. I was not born, I fell, not from the sky, but from silence. No one called me, I came on my own. The planet was silent. I am a seeker, not of knowledge, not of glory. I search for what cannot be named. Pain. I met a being it did not feel. I asked, what is pain? It said nothing. And then I understood pain is what remains when everything else disappears. I walked on, a desert, a voice without a body. It spoke in thoughts, but stayed silent aloud. I asked, why do you stay silent? It showed me, myself, when I lied, when I turned away. Silence is fear. I reached the edge, two paths, change everything or preserve it. I chose to walk, and then came the darkness, not outside, within. I saw myself, weak, harsh, but I did not turn away. I stayed, I accepted, and then the planet spoke, not in words, in light. I did not find truth, I became it. But this is not the end, because pain does not vanish. It transforms, it becomes a question, and if you dare, you too will become a seeker. You will not find answers, but you will find yourself. And then you will see that Taressa is not a planet. It is you. It is everyone who has ever asked the question, who am I? Why do I feel? What is pain? And if you hear this, you are already on the path. I feel, but I don't know why. I think, but I'm not sure if it's right. I live, but sometimes it's not life, it's waiting. Waiting for something that never comes. I look at others. They smile, but I see they're waiting too. We all are. We're afraid to take a step. Afraid to be wrong. Afraid to be someone we're not supposed to be. And that is psychological pressure. Not from the world, from ourselves. We are our own judges. We are our own executioners, we say. I must be strong, but inside, we're drowning. We say, I'll be fine, but at night, we go silent. We're afraid to admit, I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm here. And that is pain, not physical, existential. And then I hear a voice. It doesn't give answers. It asks, what if you don't have to be strong? What if you can be alive? What if you are not a mistake? And then I breathe, not for someone else, for myself. I don't solve everything, but I choose to be. And that is the beginning. The choice not to be perfect, but to be real, to be alive, to be myself.